Right. Okay. So yeah, let me just pull up my notes. I don't want to miss anything. I did a bit of prep for today, so I just want my notes on my screen in front of me, and I can't see them at the moment. Here we go. Okay, so as is always the case, with my presentations, they're fully interactive. Please feel free to interact with me as much as you want to. Any questions, just interrupt. I don't like my presentations to be monologue. I'd rather they were dialogue. Okay, so do chip in as and when with anything. I'm just organizing my screen. It's funny, I thought I got everything organized, and when Zoom came on, everything got moved. So just want to move things so I can see exactly what I'm doing. Right, okay. So just out of curiosity, I mean, again, feel free to have your mics off, or I suppose, if it is awkward, Hazel, just type in the chat box. But how proactive do you feel that you are right now? Do you really appreciate the definition of what being proactive is? There are a couple of questions sneaked into there, but just let me know in the chat box how you feel. I will say chat box because I think otherwise we'll be talking over each other. So just pop into the chat box. I've lost my chat box already. I don't know what's happening with Zoom today. It keeps, here we go. I've just done an update, but I suspect their latest version of Zoom's not working so great. Hazel, I'm guessing you've switched off your camera just to improve the internet connection, so no problem with that at all. Oh no, you're coming back on. If it is easier for you, Hazel, though, keep your camera off if it allows you a better connection. And Christine, I can see you're with us as well. So we've got Angela just joining us now, and here she comes. So we've got a few people just joining us. So no problem at all. So Hazel, you feel you're not as proactive as you would like to be. Alan, 8 out of 10. Okie dokie. That's not bad. Not as much as before. Yeah, a reset today. That's fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, that should be a hence, not a how.
I interpreted it that. Yeah. I was a bit slow to interpret it there, but I got there in the end. I'll be honest. But yeah, thank you, especially with respect to growing the businesses. Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, so if you've just joined us, not a problem. I've just asked one question, how proactive do you feel that you are? Let me ask another question, and I'm looking that way because I've moved the videos there, so I will try and look at the camera when I speak. But do you feel that you're missing opportunities by not being proactive with your clients? Opportunities to help your clients more, opportunity to generate more work and income from them. So let me just move my chat box over here. I think that'll be better. Okay. Yeah, understood. Yeah, don't worry about your typos, Ifan. It's natural when you're trying to type quick, isn't it, under pressure, that something's going to go wrong in there, but don't worry about that. Hi there, Gary. So I've got a few people joining us now. That's fine. I was just asking a couple of questions just to ascertain how proactive you feel that you are right now, and what do you feel that you're missing opportunities as well with clients by not being proactive? So look, let's dive into it. Obviously, today's presentation is about being proactive, and I've written the word truly in there. Why have I done that? Because I think most accountants have on their website, we're proactive. But the reality is, quite often when I ask people, well, what do you feel the definition of being proactive is? There's not an immediate answer. They have to think about what that might mean. And then when I ask them how proactive, how much they're living up to that, then the honest answer is usually, I'm not really. And so, what we want to achieve in this session is to try and make that as easy as possible to be proactive, without it taking up lots of time and being a big effort, but actually in a way that's going to enable you to strengthen those client relationships, because actually it demonstrates that you really do care for your clients, and actually it can lead to, you know, improvements in loyalty, client retention, as well. You know, the business opportunities that flow from that, you know, it can open doors to more added value work from your point of view. It's not just about the sales, but actually it's a huge benefit that by having more meaningful conversations with clients, it's going to lead to those types of additional work, added value work. And of course, if they're really happy that you're being more proactive with them, then they're going to be giving you more referrals as well. And I think also it helps you to differentiate yourself when you get in those case studies, those testimonials on your website where people are saying, actually, you know, I've worked with a lot of accountants that say they're proactive, these guys actually are, and these are some of the examples, then it really sets you apart as well. So I think lots of benefits in that, and we'll go through them today. So the three areas that I'm going to cover in this section then are, well, what do I mean by proactive? Let's make sure we're all singing from the same hymn sheet. So what do I mean by proactive, and why is it so important? There's going to be a lot of obvious stuff in there. I've just named some of those reasons for a start. How to be proactive, and I'm going to share with you different ways, including, you know, a couple of AVM tools. I'm sure you, if and will have come across them before anyway, and maybe some of the others in masterclasses. But I'm gonna just remind you of them as well. Because that's why you're here. You know, you're paying for access to these things as well as the help and support that we give you. So how to be proactive, and then we're just going to very briefly touch on some of the things that you can have a conversation about that clients will really value. And as I say, I think it's really important that these conversations aren't held just with a point of view of I'm trying to sell, because that's not the point here. You know, let's overcome that in our head. It can be stuff that's just going to benefit the client in general. Maybe you don't get anything extra for it apart from the loyalty factor, the referrals that might come through, you know, the appreciation from clients. But I think, you know, what we're looking for is a happy blend. So let's start with the first one then. What and why? First of all, please, in the chat box, type in what would your definition be in one line of what being proactive means to, you know, from your point of view. Yep, okay, so we're so we're singing off similar hymn sheets here. So yeah, I mean, whilst more of those are coming in, because there's more of you, by the way, on here than are contributing into the chat box. So don't be shy. You know, there's no right and wrong to any of this, but the mere act, and I'm sure you've heard me say this before, the mere act of actually participating rather than this just being background noise is, you know, the likelihood of retention and comprehension is significantly high when we're in dialogue rather than just listening in the background whilst maybe doing other work or eating a sandwich. Okay, so my definition is, and it's not dissimilar to what you've already put in there, so it is unrequested, like you've just said. This is probably where I've started writing too big down, it's not going to fit, but unrequested information. It's got to be relevant to them. It's got to be relevant, and it's, of course, got to be valuable. But also, there doesn't necessarily have to be a charge in the first instance. No charge. Now, I'll expand more on what I mean by that, because as I say, you know, there is an element of being more valuable to your client, but also a lot of the way that I'll talk about this is quite often, you're going to put it into their court for them to really want the help from you rather than you sounding like you're salesy. Okay. For me, not being proactive, it's a little bit like, if you've been to the amusement parks, the arcade centres where you've got the little, the whack-a-mole, the mole that pops up and you have to hit it with a hammer. And I think if you're not being proactive, then you're being reactive, which means actually you've got client queries coming in, or you find out too late that they're doing something that if only you'd known in advance. They come to you with queries that maybe had you been more proactive in the first place, you'd have been able to handle on your terms, in your time, in the way that you wanted to. So it kind of prevents a lot of this being reactive and dealing with these things. My computer's meant to be on do not disturb, and yet my watch continues to beep. Try that again. Okay, so that's kind of my definition of what being proactive is. Now, why should we do this? Well, I've already mentioned a few things anyway. Number one, it strengthens relationships, so clients really appreciate it. It can often feel uncomfortable suddenly, maybe you've not been as proactive as you'd like to in the past, but actually might feel a little bit uncomfortable at the start. But actually, if you start to anticipate their needs, their wants, by getting to know them better, and just providing solutions before problems even arise, and it's going to strengthen those relationships to them and improve the customer loyalty as well. They feel much more valued when you're picking up the phone to them and saying, just thinking about you, wondered if this would be something that you'd find beneficial. For example, it can be pick up the phone, it can be arranging Zoom calls, and it doesn't have to be every day or every week even. It can just be for different types of clients. It can, you can set the frequency according to the type of client, how good a quality they are, and how ambitious they are as well. Some people will only ever want you to do the very basics for them. But in my view, I think it comes down to providing a much more thorough service as well. You're not just crunching the numbers. You are becoming that kind of trusted advisor. Just keep an eye on my chat box. If any of you want to ask a question, by the way, I don't mind if you just take yourself off mute and ask it. I think if I ask you to all say something at once, then the chat box makes more sense. But if you've got a quick question, chances are it's not going to be at the same time as everybody else. Just feel free to unmute yourself and speak. Hi, Steve. I can see you've just joined us, so welcome. Okay. So, I mean, there are lots of reasons here. It will increase your income and your revenue. There will be additional opportunities that you can share with your clients that's going to lead to additional work for you. So you have to decide, well, do I want to be able to deliver this? Have I got time for it? Referrals, I've mentioned a few times. Happy clients will always refer you far more. And of course, with that, you have to train your clients on the kinds of referrals that you want to have. It helps you stay above, ahead of the competition, of course, and I've already mentioned, I think it enhances your professional image as well. You are truly seen as forward-thinking and proactive with your clients. So I think there's some of the benefits. Now, many people say to me, look, I don't have time. I'm already busy. I'm already snowed under. Having these more frequent phone calls or Zoom calls or in-person meetings is just going to take up too much time. But I think, as I mentioned earlier, number one, the more proactive you are, the less reactive you are, which means you can do stuff on your terms. And some of the tools that I'll show you in a minute, I'm pointing to this, but actually chances are I'm going to show you on some slides because it's easier. Will show you how much easier it is to be proactive in a way that's, less time consuming. And also it helps you identify the right things for the clients. Another common query that comes in is, who should I be proactive with? And I'm just going to address that one now. Give me a yes or no in the chat box if you have graded your clients A to D so far. Just a yes or no in there. Okay, so most of you then, okay, fair enough, you meant no. All right, so probably some of you have, some of you haven't. Well, look, there are lots and lots of benefits to grading your clients. So if you haven't done that yet, I'm sure it will be something that is in the plan going forward. It's highly recommended that you do that. And what you'll find is obviously you've got your A, B, C, and D type clients. I always say ditch the D's and up the fees, but maybe you're not ready to do that yet. But what I do recommend in terms of being proactive, different firms do this differently. So, don't take on exactly what I'm saying, but you could speak to your A clients once a month. I'll just write month. You could speak to your B clients every 2 months. And maybe your C clients, it could be every 3 months, or it could be every 6 months, or even once a year, whatever you think is appropriate for you. And you can change these. You could make that every 3 months and once a year. So it's at your discretion, but actually by grading your clients using we have a basic criteria as a starting point, then you can refine that process and continue to grade your clients, because even if you had just a set of A clients, then you can refine your grading process even more to get the creme de la creme, as they say. So I would recommend that you use this as a bit of a guide, so that you only invest in your time into the clients that are really going to, you're going to see even more rewards from as a result. Many people say, well, will I annoy my clients by having these more regular meetings? Well, in my experience, advising clients for 25 years to do this, the answer is no. But again, what you can do with these clients is just say to them, look, quite often I will review your situation and I'll present some opportunities for you that you might want to explore, that might strengthen your cash flow, strengthen your business in general, whatever it might be. How often would you like me to maybe call up, touch base with you about these? I could do it monthly, but if that's too frequently for you, I could do it, every second month. What would work for you? And just have those conversations, because number one, you're setting an expectation that you're going to be proactive with them, and then you're agreeing on the frequency. You can easily put a note in your diary or whatever that might be. And the final objection that I've written down is people think, am I going to come across as salesy, even sleazy, by continually offering them, or talking about different ways that we can help them? And my response is, it's not selling, it's adding value. People, if you're presenting opportunities to them that are going to save them time, that's going to earn them more income, it's going to reduce their stress and effort, then actually they're going to welcome that. And it's just a choice. And I always use the analogy, you go to McDonald's and you ask for a burger. Their standard response is, would you like fries with that? You never go in fearing, thinking, oh God, they're going to sell. They're just saying, basically, we do fries. Would you like that to complement your meal? And we're not put off by that. We don't dread going in. It's just a simple question. And the way that I shall talk you through in a moment, actually being proactive with your clients, it doesn't come across in a salesy way. It just comes across as a really value adding way. Okay. Any questions on that so far before I move on to my next section? I've kind of really just addressed the why this is important, and maybe overcome some of the objections I've heard people mention in the past. So any questions, concerns, comments, feel free. Ifam?
I have a comment, Shane.
Yeah, please do.
It took a long time to get around to doing this great business.
All right, okay.
Well, it's as someone has put there, I mean to. Yeah. It did take some time to get around to doing it, but it has made life a lot easier, because mentally, if someone's from the D, there are very few in that category, they don't get immediate responses anymore. There's used to be, no. And I've also noticed in doing what you're saying with my A clients, they are far more prepared to phone me or email me before they do something. The B's are going that way as well. So it is making life a lot easier. and it's almost like if you were a territory salesman, so my friends have been, it's what you would do is occasionally you would just drop in on your top clients and just say, "It was just passing, for for a cup of tea."
Yeah, yeah,
And nobody objects to that. If they're really busy, they'll tell you. And
yeah.
or they'll just say, "Yeah, can you phone me? Yeah, can we catch up at 2:30 today?" Or whatever. And you just get you both, if you like, you benefit because that when they're busy. They benefit because they right, I'll have your undivided attention. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't think people. It took me some time, even though I'm from a sales background, to go. No, it's just like any other thing. So, there you go.
Excellent. Yeah, look, I mean, at the end of the day, clients want and need regular input from you, especially if it comes in the form of recommendations. So, yeah, I think that's, as long as it is valuable, then that's great. Anything from anybody else? Has anyone, I think, Gary, you don't seem to be muted. I don't know whether you've unmuted to speak, or did you want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, the gradient exercise is life changing, as Ivan just said. And I've just made a note. I've not done it for the last 2-3 years for our clients. Amazingly, I'm telling the clients to do it all the time, and they love it when they do it themselves. But I've not actually done it, embarrassingly. So that's on my list, my to-do list. I've already started thinking about it, so I'm sound a little bit distracted. Apologise.
Yeah, no problem at all. All right, yeah, perfect, spot on. Okay, don't see anybody else unmuted, so fantastic stuff. All right, well, look, so the second part that I wanted to talk about then is really the crux of this session, which is how do you become really proactive? And I suppose in a way that doesn't raise those eyebrows, that's not making your clients think, well, they've never done this before, why are they suddenly doing this now? And I think really I talked about that, and there's no harm in picking up the phone with your A clients as a starting point, just saying, look, what I'd like to start doing is maybe just being a little bit more proactive with you, helping you out in more ways. Would that be something that you'd find valuable? There's no harm in asking those questions. I think my personal approach is always to kind of ask permission. So, this is what I would like to do. Would that be something that you'd find valuable? Rather than just suddenly, doing it, because then if they've said yes, then they're giving you permission to be having these conversations, of course, but also any barriers that they may have if suddenly you pick up the phone and say, by the way, did you know we could help you in this way? Or did you know that this was something that would benefit you? Then, their defense mechanisms aren't going to be instantly raised thinking, why are they suddenly trying to sell me something? You've already set that scene. So I would always recommend, you could do it by email, or you could pick up the phone and say, look, I'd like to maybe on a fairly frequent basis just analyze your records and just give you some recommendations. Don't worry, I'm not going to be charging you extra for my time or anything like that. It's just a quick chat. But I think, it'll help you boost your business kind of conversation. Okay. So, I mentioned earlier that clients really want to need this stuff. It has to be valuable, but it doesn't have to be the whole answer. It doesn't have to be the whole solution either. It can just be a next step. So, for example, let's say you've got a sole trader business working with you, rather than saying to them, you've reached a certain point, I recommend that you incorporate, or I recommend that you pay us to do an investigation to find out what you might save by incorporating. Rather than coming straight in at that, you could say something like, look, I've had a preliminary look at your business right now, and I think actually it would be a good time for you to incorporate, since my estimate is that it could save you somewhere between, around, say, £2,000 a year, which would equate to about £50,000 between now and when you retire. So I would recommend that you just take a look at that and weigh up the pros and cons. So you've raised something for them in their eyes, something maybe that they've not considered, but you've not gone and incorporated them, and you've not offered to do that. But of course, what you can then ask the question is this something that you'd like some help with? Now, I wouldn't say that you dive straight in with that, but maybe you just say, well, what do you see as the pros and cons? And you can get into a bit of dialogue And if they start to think or ask you a few questions about it, you say, well, look, is this something you'd like some help with? We can do a more in-depth investigation if you want, or we can incorporate you. Obviously, there's a fee for that because it's going to take up our time, but you're pretty much, you're setting the seed there as a starting point. So hopefully that makes sense. Now, how do you know what to talk about? Well, there are a couple of different options. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my slides in a moment and just show you a couple of different ways that you can do this. But I want to give you a different analogy as a starting point. I remember a few years ago now watching, what's his name now? Gordon. It's either something Gordon, you know, the restaurateur, the chef, Gordon Ramsay, that's his name. It went
Gordon Ramsay.
Thank you. Thank you for that. His name escaped me. I remember watching him, and he was doing a program about just finding these really run down, terrible restaurants. And he was going in there and he was basically giving them all a bit of a kick up the backside and helping them to really turn that business around. And this one particular restaurant, you know, they were having to throw away a lot of their food stock because obviously food only lasts so long. You've obviously, you know, you want it to be fresh, not frozen, but it only lasts so long. And so a big challenge for them is that they were throwing money down the drain literally by having to get rid of a lot of the fresh stuff that wasn't being sold in the restaurant. And the way he came up with that was a bit of a kind of like a bingo, a game of bingo with their team. So imagine that they've got a big massive whiteboard in the back kitchen, and on there they've got a grid, and on the left hand side here they named dishes that were on their menu. Okay, so dish 1, 2, 3, etc. And then at the top they've got like waiter 1, 2, 3, 4. And what he said was, you know, quite often people want a recommendation. You give them a menu, their eyes glaze over. It's like, oh God, what do I go for? I'm sure we've all been in this position. And the bigger the menu, the worse it is, isn't it? It's like, oh. So actually people really would like a recommendation. So what he educated the waiters to do would be to just pick the next thing on there. So waiter 1, you know, their target is to tick off as many of these items as they can. So going over, passing the menu, and just simply saying, by the way, can I recommend the fish of the day, or can I recommend X meal? And what they would do then is they would tick that off and say that's gone. So the next time they would to the next table and say, by the way, I recommend dish 2. And then it became a bit of a fun internal competition from their point of view. But by doing this, they were making sure that they were using all of their stock. Yeah. So therefore, there was less of those, you know, those foods that were being binned. So that's how he utilized the way of going through that. Now, I'm showing you this as well because we've got, and you've got access to it as well in System Builder, a Windows of Opportunity chart. Now, I'm just going to share my screen. So if I go on to here, at the most basic level, a Windows of Opportunity chart looks like that. So it's not dissimilar from the table I just drew behind me. And what we would do then is we would populate this with all of the different service levels. So, you know, whatever different services you can offer. And this is something to really brainstorm internally, because you know, you'll all have your core offerings, bookkeeping, payroll, tax returns, VAT returns, all of those, you know, your compliance accounts, but there will be additional services, added value type services as well that you might want to offer to clients. So I would recommend that you have a brainstorm and just think about all of those different ones. Maybe, you know, grade them by what do you want to, what do you enjoy delivering the most as well. And then for each one of those, just think about, well, what are the benefits to the clients? We don't want to be talking features. We want to be talking, what's the outcome? What's the benefit? Why would this be important for you? And then again, very similar type of thing. Then you would list your clients down the left-hand side. And let's say then that you're about to have a meeting with client 1. So perhaps this is, you know, it could be a whiteboard, it could be an Excel spreadsheet that you've got on your system that maybe all of the team can share as well. Let's say you're about to meet client one. Well, already client one's having these kinds of services, so they would be pre-ticked anyway. But in advance of that meeting, maybe you identify a few services that you think, actually, right now with this client where they're at, they would really benefit from that. So highlight them with a view to talking about them. I always recommend just identify maybe three. You know, you could go four if you wanted to, but I think three is a magic number. It's not too much, it's not too little. You're discussing different things with people. Again, think about the benefits to that business. What impact might it have? How might it save the business owner time? How might it earn them more money or save them tax, or, you know, all of those different factors? Really think about what would be the benefits rather than saying, by the way, did you know that we did X, Y, Z? And then obviously when you have that meeting with them, if you tell them about service level one and they say, well, you know, that sounds interesting, but I don't think it's for me right now. Great, mark it on there that you've told them about it. You've done your service to them, you've told them about it, but maybe they've not bought. Maybe service four, in this case, you've told them about it and say, yeah, that's great, actually. Yeah, please, I would like that. And likewise then service six, you mark down that you've told them about it. That way you know for next time whether you've had a conversation. And it might be that next time then in your meeting, whether it's a month, whether it's 6 months, a year's time, that you do a similar exercise and review it and think, well, actually, do you know what? I really think service one, whatever that's going to be, would be beneficial to them. I am going to raise that with them again because circumstances change. You know, whatever they did or didn't want last year may be different right now. And then you have that conversation with them and maybe they buy. You've identified a couple of other areas. And again, maybe they're ready for these things this time and not everything. And so that's a windows of opportunity chart. Now, there is a pre-made one of those in System Builder for you. And it's an Excel spreadsheet. I had planned on loading that up ready for this session, but I neglected to in the end. But actually, if you search into System Builder for Windows of Opportunity Chart, we've created one for you with all of the typical types of services from your basic compliance right through to added value services. We've populated that for you. You can obviously chop and change that. So, for example, just going back onto that chart, one of our members a while back absolutely loved, and I don't know why, because few do, but they absolutely loved doing a debt collection service for their clients. They've got a brilliant track record for it. They always, you know, their proudest thing is that they always get a thank you from the client that they phoned up. So, you know, it means that from a business, you know, their existing client's point of view, that set them on, they're not going to be losing clients because they have such a great conversation with them that, you know, the debtor is actually really grateful to them for the conversation and maybe agreeing some kind of payment terms or something like that. So, you know, that's something that they really enjoy doing. Saves a lot of time for the business owner. They're generating income. And of course, if they were on the phones chasing up these debts, then they're not out there doing the work or getting the work, are they? So it was a win-win all round. Okay, the next tool I'm going to show you then is OnTrack. OnTrack is kind of an automated windows of opportunity chart. And this is something that we populate on a regular basis for you. So we are continually looking, what are the timely things that are going off? The windows of opportunity chart I've just shown you is mainly made up of additional services and ways that you can help them. But OnTrack, actually, we might put other things that are just information. Did you know? Are you looking out for this? For example, cyber security, you know, just raising their awareness. How cyber aware are you and your team? You know, did you know that lots of people are getting hacked at the moment because of their poor quality passwords or whatever it might be? You know, so we will continually upgrade OnTrack on your behalf and you get access to that. So I'm just going to give you a quick run through. By the way, give us a yes or no in the chat box if you are actively using OnTrack with any clients at the moment. Okay, so yes, but not enough. Well, that's great, Ifan. Good that you are using it. So, well, not everyone's contributed yet, but I can see the majority are no's with the exception of Ifan, so thank you for that. Look, let me just give you a quick run through on using this. Now, this is, I'm not demoing it live right now because it's just easier for me to show a video. The date of this video, I literally recorded it about 3 years ago, so ignore any dates that you see, and obviously the questions will have changed since then, but it's just a video that I tend to show when I'm delivering these kinds of courses. So first of all, you know, you can populate this with your clients, and if you've already been using some of our software like Time's Up, for example, it will have those clients in there. And what you can do then is you can pull up a client, and then you can generate a new set of questions. Now, this is something for you to do back office and not in front of your clients, okay? So this should be done ahead of time. And it will ask simple questions like, you know, is the client likely to want to strengthen or improve their business cash flow? Well, you know, you'll know whether cash flow is a challenge for them. And it gives you advice as well. So, you know, it will tell you to answer no if you're not sure or whatever. Foundation members don't exist anymore, by the way. We did away with that. We just combined everything to be the same. But, you know, so you can see on there, it's asking a few questions. If you've benchmarked them recently, then obviously, you know, you wouldn't want that to come up on there. So I'm just going to let this go through, answer a few questions. There are quite a lot in here. So what I recommend is that, again, if you're doing this more frequently, thinking about those A clients, you might only want to do 1 or 2. And then for the next month, you do the next 2. And then for the next month, you do the next 2 that are relevant, of course. So this is why it's asking you these questions in advance. So now, obviously, we would save that. And then what it gives you the outputs it gives you is one, a letter, that obviously letter or email, however you want to send that, but a letter to your clients, key improvement possibilities report, action plan for your eyes only. And if you wanted a summary of the questions and answers, you can get that as well to store against their file on their CRM, for example. I don't need to go into the question and answers part, but if I load these up, so we'll start with the letter. Now, what it does do is, let's say you've gone through and answered 10 or even 15 questions, it will give you the letter. So this is just going to pull them down, and then we'll go through each one of them. So the letter is basically saying, I'd love to invite you in or come and meet you or whatever it is for a meeting, discuss your year-end accounts, for example. But whilst we're together, you know, I'd like to share with you a couple of extra things that you might want to consider for your business. So that's just about to show the first letter now. Here we go. Again, ignore the date. It's just a video that I used a while back. But as I say, everything I've just said, you know, it gives you some highlighted stuff that you need to manually modify. But you'll see in there, it's put some bullet points in there in terms of the stuff that you might want to discuss. Now, one of the things that OnTrack does do is it'll give you a bullet point for every question that you've asked. So I would recommend that you just reduce that to 3 bullet points on the email, because from experience, I know that can scare a lot of clients off thinking, well, I'm only coming in for a quick meeting, you discuss 50 things with me. So I would recommend that you just put maybe 1, 2, or maximum 3 bullet points on there to say, we'd like to discuss these things with you. And you could put maybe amongst other things. But that allows you then just to set an expectation in advance that you're going to have a conversation with them. Okay. Okay. So the next one that I will pull up is the key improvement possibilities report. So this will automatically create you well, as it suggests, it's a comprehensive report on all of those topics that you might want to talk to your client about. There are a couple of different ways that you can use this. It's quite comprehensive. You can see there, that's a 12-page report just based on the few questions that we did. And it'll talk more in detail about the benefits of using a one-page plan, the benefits of strengthening cash flow through different ways, the benefits, etc. Because actually one of the biggest challenges with a lot of accountants, present company accepted, is that they talk features rather than benefits. So we've done that for you. We've really translated that into what are the key benefits from a business owner's point of view. Now, there are a couple of ways that you can use this report. One is that you can pre-print it and have it with you in that meeting to discuss with them. That might act as a bit of a guide for you as you're going through and say, look, I've created this, you don't have to say a piece of software did it. I've produced this report based on just taking a look at your business. And then you can use that as a bit of a guide to talk through them with them. And then you can give them that report as well. So if they need to reflect on anything. Or what I find a lot of accountants do, which is much more beneficial to them, is that they will have the meeting without that report present. And I'll describe how to have that meeting in a moment. But then actually a couple of days later, then they will produce this report and say, based on our meeting the other day, I've just, I've put all of those thoughts together into a document just for you to reflect on them. So a couple of different ways of doing that. And again, the choice is yours. It will also produce you then an action plan. Now I'm going to come back onto this in a minute because there's a very specific way to use this action plan, which is incredibly powerful. Okay, so we'll come back to that. And then the other report is this one, the For Your Eyes Only document. And what that does is, from your point of view, it gives you everything you need to make sure that you can have a proper, meaningful conversation. It tells you where to get extra information if you need it. It'll give you links to System Builder with additional resources in there, even videos, so that you are 100% confident in having these conversations, especially if it's in the realms of added value stuff that maybe you've not done yet or enough of. You've got all of that. So you've got that peace of mind. Okay, so it's deliberately labeled For Your Eyes Only document for that reason. Everything in there, it will take you through step by step on exactly how to do it. Okay, so you've got that confidence in advance. So look, lots of benefits. I've already mentioned these. You've got happy customers. They'll happily pay you premium fees for being more proactive as well. They'll buy from you, they'll stay with you forever, and they will refer you more to their friends. Okay, and obviously that's going to impact on your profits and turnover as well. When should you do this? Well, obviously you can present it with the accounts. I would always recommend doing that anyway. Have a proper conversation with your clients at the time of doing their accounts. Again, you can grade your clients and maybe you can just do that with your A clients or whatever at your discretion. Somebody else in your team can go through that OnTrack software for you. It doesn't have to be you, as long as they've got an understanding of the business. Obviously send them that letter. Now, another benefit, by the way, of sending that letter is that because it shows those extra bullet points on there, number one, it acts as an agenda, but two, it also it makes you much more likely to have that conversation with them as well. Because it's very easy, if it's just in the back of your mind, yeah, I'll raise these with the client. You have the conversation and then that little voice in your head talks yourself out of having these additional added value conversations. You start to think, oh, do you know, I've taken up a lot of their time already. They'll probably not be interested after all, etc. And that little voice inside our head will talk us out of having the conversation. If you sent a letter in advance, then you're committed. And that's a really good thing to be, isn't it? So it just ensures that you do it. So again, you can briefly discuss that report at the accounts meeting, but developing an action plan is, as I said, really, really powerful. And I'm going to come back onto the action plan now. So, action plan. The software will automatically produce you an action plan, and you can shuffle things into a different order, but actually on the software, but I would recommend just let it print off. And you can use this as an agenda in the meeting. And what you would do in that meeting is say, right, okay, so look, the first thing on here is I wanted to talk to you about improving your cash flow. Now, there is a separate worksheet that you would grab from System Builder, and you can talk about a few things on there together with the client. Okay, so again, you get the information about this, but that's something you can go through together. But the benefit of this is you'll see those 3 columns on there. So all you need to do is say, look, is strengthening your cash flow something that's important to you right now? And that's going to be a yes, no. Okay, it's a binary decision. Is that important? And if cash flows are challenged, they're going to say, yes, that's important. How urgent is it that you start to fix your cash flow issues right now? It's either going to be urgent or it's not going to be urgent, and maybe there's a timeline attached to that. If they say, look, I'm desperate, I'm struggling to pay my team or to pay my bills or whatever because I'm struggling to get the money in, then clearly that's important. Now, if they said it's important and it's urgent, the next question is, would you like some help with that? Again, it's either a yes or a no, isn't it? It's a bit like that McDonald's, would you like fries with that? You're just asking if they want help. You're not selling anything to them at the moment, but would you like some help? And it might be that for some of these, not necessarily that one, but for some of these, they might say, actually, do you know what? I think you've raised my awareness of this, but I think I know what to do now. In which case it's a no. So they're not all going to result in your help with them. So you might go through this process as well. So maybe a one-page plan, you'll talk about the benefits, you'll use your sheet as a guide to doing that. And they said, well, actually, do you know what? I'd really love to start doing that maybe from at the end of the year, maybe the next calendar year, the financial year, whatever it might be. Yes, I'd love some help with that. And then you would continue through this process. Obviously, if it's not important, you wouldn't progress, etc. And then what you would do is you'll find that some of the things they've said, yes, I would like some help with that. Then you can load up Times Up or whatever pricing software or whatever pricing mechanism you use and say, look, you've said you'd like some help strengthening your cash flow, utilizing a one-page plan, etc. Let's just take a look at what that would look like, and then you'll just do those as extra work orders in Times Up. Or if you're planning for next year, you can build it in the whole pricing, of course. And then you can just pull up the fee. And if they say, well, actually, do you know what? Maybe we can leave one of these for now, then you can remove it from the Times Up. But you've gone through a proper process with them. But you've already discussed the benefits. And if they said it's really important and it's urgent, then there's a good chance that they're going to go for that. Does this make sense? Give us a yes or no in the box. Any questions? Unmute yourself. Good stuff. Okay. All right. So I don't need to share my screen anymore. Wonderful stuff. Thank you for that. All right. So, and as I say, this is a process. You know, if you grade your clients, then you can do it on your terms and make sure it works for you. Action plans, by the way, are really powerful, and just it's almost a side note, but I think it's very much related as well, that any meeting that you have with a client, even a new prospect, it's always beneficial to have an in-depth conversation, maybe discussing any ideas as well, and create an action plan for them, because what clients really value is somebody to hold them accountable, to, you know, even just to chase them up after a month or something, say, you know, in the last meeting you said you were going to do this in your business, you said you were going to do that. Have you done that? How are you getting on with that? Is there anything I can help with on that? And again, it doesn't have to be free help, but you can ask the questions. So people really value that. And as I say, prospects will seriously value that as well. Even if they don't come on board, if you've had a few conversations with them, you know, in depth, I'm talking like really understanding their business. Even if they don't come on board, there's no harm in phoning them up saying, you know, when we were together, you said you were going to do X, Y, and Z. You know, I just wanted to touch base with you, find out how you're getting on with that. Because actually, they would really value that as well. Okay, so that makes you much more valuable. Okay, so the final part that I want to discuss really was that part 3, which is what specific discussions could you have? Now, obviously, I've shown you a few in OnTrack anyway. There's a few things that have come up there. What discussions do you think clients would find valuable? Just do a bit of a quick brain dump into the chat box now. What kind of discussions do you think they'd really value you talking about? Excuse me. Yep, tax planning, absolutely. What else? Yep, valuation of the business, certainly. Yeah, revenue growth, completely agree. Tax mitigation, cash flow valuations, HR, agree with all of these. Margins and budgets, expense. Yeah, absolutely. So look, there's no shortage of stuff that you can talk about, is there? And you know, I've kind of summed up, I suppose, some of the things that I'd brain dumped myself into three key areas. One is the financial health. So, you know, you've got your cash flow monitoring, you've got expense analysis, you've got debt management, you've got business growth then. So you've got financial forecasting, you've got industry trends. You know, you can do your benchmarking and those types of things for them, can't you? You've got access to all of that. And you can share some business growth strategies. And remember, you've got access to countless business growth strategies in System Builder. And just one of those business growth strategy ideas, of which there are hundreds of them, that can be a 2 or 3 hour consulting session in its own right. Okay, but sharing a couple of basic examples with them and saying, you know, is this something you'd like to do in more depth? Then, you know, suddenly you've got some coaching sessions that you can start to deliver off the back of that. And then my third category is personal finances, you know, so obviously tax planning, goal setting sessions with them, retirement planning. And again, all of this you've got full access to in System Builder, and OnTrack will also direct you to those places as well. So for me, they're the main areas. Now, what I would like to know now is, first of all, yeah, raising finance, by the way, best savings rates, stuff like that, absolutely critical. You're quite right. Getting capital injection, those types of things. So first of all, number one, has this been of value to you, this session today? Give us a yes or no. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Gary. Okay, wonderful. Lots of yeses, so really appreciate that. What one thing will you do off the back of this session today that's going to make you more proactive with your clients? Put that in the chat box. Excellent, Gary. Now, as I say, there is a very, I'll even call it rudimentary guide in System Builder for grading your clients. I think it acts as a really good starting place, but you know, it's not the be all and end all. I think it's something to be refined ongoing, but it has to start somewhere. Look into the action planner. Brilliant, Alan. Okay. Yeah, that's, as I say, it's such a powerful way of, I always try and avoid the word selling, because it does sound a bit sleazy for a lot of people, but ultimately, you know, you are doing your clients a service. Okay, so I've only had, maybe some of you are steadier typers. Okay, I've got 3 in now, so on track for upcoming meeting. Brilliant, Ifan. Excellent. Okay.
I know, Shane, that's why I said, that's why I wanted to come to the meeting. I just need to be reminded.
Yeah, well,
it's
exactly.
something that Tommy Hopkins, one of his books, put in there about American football, and he says, before the season starts, do you think the star quarterback is out there sweating and perspiring with the rest of them? Yes. To go back to basics. So that's what I need. So here I am, sweating away.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, spot on. All right, well, look, thank you very much, everybody. Really appreciate your interaction. I hope you have a great day. Oh, thank you, Hazel. I've missed yours, and Angela coming in now. So thank you for that. On track, looking at financial health, client gradings to schedule checking calls. Perfect. Okay, brilliant. Well, listen, thank you very much. Hope you have a great day, great week, and hopefully I'll see you on Thursday's session as well, which is all about awards and why it's important to be entering for them. So hopefully I'll see you then, and hopefully I'll see you all in person at some point as well soon. All right, all the best to you.
Shane, all the best.